Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So, this week I've been thinking about aging in place and what that might look like. Also, about simplifying my life just in general as I age and as I move into retirement. Really wanting to have less mental clutter, less to take care of. I'm looking forward to that. So, I don't know if you guys have been thinking about that, but let's talk about it. I am Michelle, and this is Silver Colored Glasses. So thank you for coming back if you have joined me before. And then also for the first timers, I appreciate you joining in. Simplifying our environment. I think as I age, I just want to slow down. I think that all of us have put in our work. We have raised our kids if you had kids. We have done the careers. And I think it's time to really look at what we can simplify. And one of the best things, at least for me, going forward, is going to be to simplify my environment. I have in the past been accused of having way too much stuff. I have decluttered at different times. About 3 years ago, I bought this home so that I could age in place here from a 5 bedroom home, 2 bedrooms with my children as they were growing up, to a 3 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 level home. And I really loved it here. And when I did that, I decluttered about 40% of our stuff so that I could move here. But what I found is even now, I have filled up every nook and cranny of this house again. I just want less to look at, less to care for, as I mentioned before, less mental clutter. I think that we all sort of think about things throughout the day. And the more you see, the more you're kind of thinking about that, or your mind's working on that. So really looking at that. So I ended up going down kind of a rabbit hole this week in decluttering videos on YouTube and reading some things. And there were two methods or two philosophies that really stood out to me that seemed to really be working really well for people. So I just wanted to throw that out really quick. One is the KonMari method. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's by Marie Kondo. And her method is really just to touch everything, look at everything, ask yourself whether or not it sparks joy, is her question. And really be very mindful about what you're decluttering. And then also, don't overwhelm yourself with trying to do the whole home at one time. Do one type of item throughout your home to get rid of, or do one area. And so I really like that idea. The other one that really caught my attention, and that I really did go down a rabbit hole on, is the Swedish death cleaning. And I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but I've been hearing about that lately. And I thought it was a method, like the KonMari method. But really what I found out is that it's an actual Swedish cultural process. And one of the things, or one of the thoughts, is as you age, one of your responsibilities as you move towards your aging process, or into your aging process and getting older, one of your responsibilities is to get rid of your stuff. Get rid of the things that you don't use. Get rid of the things that people aren't going to want after you pass away. And that's a responsibility of yours to lighten the load on your loved ones, your children, whoever might be having to take care of things after your death. And I really like that concept. I don't want my children to have to be burdened with a bunch of stuff that I have still stacked in cupboards and filled in closets and in storage units and things like that. I just don't want that. And so I really like that idea. There was a woman named Margareta Magnusson who wrote a book called The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning back in, I believe it was 1977, so long ways away, or a long time ago, about the Swedish death cleaning concept. And then also just recently, Peacock has developed and started a TV show hosted by Amy Poehler about Swedish death cleaning as well. So kind of a new trend, new fad. But I'm really fascinated with it because it talks a lot about the fact that as you age, you're not always able to do things, at least in the amount of time, or with the strength that you may not have had in the past. And so it talks a lot about going slow and breaking it down into little parts as you go through your home. really focusing in on the things that you can see around you, and really looking at how you can manage that as you age. Because I don't know about you guys, but I certainly can't, spend 2 full days of 7 in the morning till midnight like I used to, packing boxes and lugging things out to the cars and things like that. So I have to break things down even now to get things done. And so I really want to be able to do that. And simplifying my environment is really going to be my focus over the next few months. So I've already started, and I will show you a little video of a couple of things that I have done recently. And I really like this method. There are 2 questions in the Swedish death cleaning that they say to ask yourself. One is, does this make me happy? Or will this make someone else happy? And then also, would this be a burden to me if I kept it? Or will it be a burden to my children or my loved ones after I go? Those are the 2 questions. And so really being very mindful about what you're doing. And there are some steps. Again, slow down, take your time, take one area at a time to do that. And I think that's really important so that you don't get overwhelmed. I don't know, again, about you guys, but when I get overwhelmed, then I stop and don't follow through. So just take your time. They say to gift things as you're going. Let your family know that you're doing it as well so that they can be involved or not involved if they don't want to be. But also just to let them know that there are certain, especially the sentimental things that we're wanting to get through or look at, that you might want to gift them or see if they want them. What I have realized with my kids, although they don't want some of the stuff that I thought that they would want to. I have a little box for each one of them. I have keepsakes in there. They're very interested in that. Some of the Christmas ornaments, things like that. But otherwise, they don't want a bunch of extra stuff in their homes either. And so it's really up to me to get rid of some of that stuff. And also to reward yourself when you're done. Give yourself a cup of tea or go out and get a coffee or watch your favorite movie after you've done something like that, especially the sentimental stuff. I think, can you come up with other ways of still keeping some of that stuff that's sentimental, but maybe not keeping it physically, like taking pictures of it, framing some of it. I've heard of a lady here in town who takes baby clothes and makes a quilt out of the baby clothes, and same thing with t-shirts. There was a man that passed away not very long ago, and his wife contacted this woman, and she took a bunch of his favorite t-shirts and made a quilt for each one of the kids out of those. And so, I think that that's a wonderful way of keeping some sentimental stuff or keeping some collection kind of items without maybe having them physically in your home any longer. So just be, I guess, mindful of that, but also creative about how you might be able to keep the memory, but remembering that the memory isn't in the item. You'll still have the memory after it's gone as well. And we just can't keep all of that kind of stuff. Especially the things that I struggle with are the things that I've been gifted as sentimental items from family members that wanted me to then have it, passing it down through the generations. Some of it, of course, I'll keep and I will cherish and always have. And I cherish those other items as well, but I can't keep it all. And so really looking at those and what can I do about keeping those memories and then not having to keep that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm doing in my home here this week. And then also, I think it's there's a lot of pros about simplifying your life. I talked a little bit about the mind clutter and having less to take care of, but also it's easier to clean. It's easier to find things if you only have 50 or 75% of your drawers full rather than crammed full to the brim and not being able to find things. Same thing with your closets. If you declutter to the point that you know exactly what's in there, much, much easier to find things as well. And also, we have to keep in mind as we age, safety. And so if you have a bunch of stuff on the floor or boxes here and there, or just aisles that you can get through in your home, or things stacked clear up in your closets that might fall, we've got to be mindful of that as well. So safety is an issue and can be helped in looking at simplifying your environment and decluttering a little bit as well. And then cost savings. We don't want to be continuing to purchase more things and bring more into our homes too. So we can save some money doing that as well. And then I think lastly, really having some thoughts about how to make sure that once you do simplify your environment, and this is something I've been thinking about this week too, how do you ensure that you're not going to repeat or bring more stuff into the home? And so really thinking about, I used to watch, I don't know if you guys are watching these, the hauls on TV. Some of the YouTubers in particular will do a big grocery haul or a big Costco haul. And those are really fun to watch, but that encourages me to start thinking about things that I might want. And so I've got to stop watching those. I've got to stop watching those. But then also really being mindful about what you're bringing in. There's a technique called one in, one out. And so, excuse me, one in, one out, where if you bring something into the home, you have to be committed to taking one thing out and either donating it, giving it away, whatever that might be, to make sure that you are balancing your inventory in your home. And so I think that that's something that you might want to think about. Setting some time during the week or once a month that you take 15 minutes, take 30 minutes and declutter a closet, declutter a drawer. Just doing that on a regular basis will also help you ensure that you're not going to, reclutter up your house again. So really being, I don't know, just thinking about that a little bit and how to make that work for you. And then I wanted to show you too what I've been doing for this week. And so I did a closet organizing and decluttering. And then I also went around the house. I set a timer on my stove for 10 minutes, went around my house and challenged myself to grab 20 things. And that might not seem a lot, but if we're doing that on a regular basis, it took me 10 minutes and then another maybe 10 minutes to pack it up and put it in a box. So the box isn't heavy. I can take it right out to my car. It was not an overwhelming experience, but I got rid of some things that have been bothering me. And so I'm going to try to do that at least once a week. And if I can find more than 20, that's great too. But really try to do that so that I'm taking it slow, I'm breaking it down, but I'm really finding ways that are going to work for me to simplify my environment going forward. So I hope that works for you. Please let me know in the comments if there's other ideas that you have or things that have worked for you. So let's talk about it. And I'm going to show you here in the clips what I've done for this week. Thanks for joining me. See you next time. Look at this craziness. So I got the bright idea of getting into my linen closet and downsizing and decluttering after realizing that I had 3.5 huge bins of medicine and hair stuff and first aid stuff. So here it is, and I'm gonna get after it. I'll show you after I get it all done. And there we go. Much, much better. Still too much stuff, but at least I can find it. Who needs 4 bottles of Pepto-Bismol? Ugh.